Hey, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming out. With the Rice game was a real disappointment to our program, to our team and coaches, and just felt like we had a legitimate chance to win that game and let it slip away. Maybe that's what bothers me the most in coaching, is those games that you're supposed to win or have a chance to win, or you think in your heart you should be beating this club, and for whatever reason you don't do it. And it's happened several times to me in that stadium and in that community of Houston. So it was not something I was very happy about after the game, and the players weren't either. There was any thing in their reaction after the game, it was that they were as unhappy and frustrated as the coaches. So in a way, that's good. And Sunday's meeting in here was silent. I mean, there wasn't anybody saying anything. None of the usual, get a group of 18 to 22-year-old kids, around 100 of them. There was nobody talking. They were just waiting for the coaches to come in and address the team on Sunday after and then when they ran and lifted, they were quiet as church mouses. So they were concerned about their performance. They should be, and I was concerned about their performance and should be, and but I believe that our attitude is going to be still good and remain positive. The goals that we had set up before this game still remain a possibility. We can still have a winning season, and we can still go to a bowl game. This, however, did not help the Rice game. Losing the Rice game didn't help. We're taking a different approach, a little bit harder approach, taking a longer way to get to that bowl game than that. Would have been a shorter trip if we would have beaten Rice to get to the bowl game. But we didn't. Going in at halftime, we were ahead. On the scoreboard, statistically, we were never ahead. They were ahead in almost all statistics, and doubled the statistics that they were ahead of us at halftime in the second half. So we had trouble with getting a pass rush on Fanuzzi, their quarterback, and he was really throwing the ball very well. And they were making good catches, and we were a step off in the secondary, where I thought we were faster and would be able to disrupt their passes and jump his passes for interceptions and stuff like that. We did have a couple go through our hands, but I was disappointed that we didn't, we let him throw for that many yards. That's the best game he's ever had at Rice, I think. And the running game, of course, was really, really good. So meanwhile, our offense kind of stammered and stuttered around, come right out of the game, first right out of the box and throw deep on a score down the sideline, which we thought we could do against them, with Nick hitting Mike Edwards down the sideline for the first touchdown. And then they drove the length of the field and scored against us, and the energy and enthusiasm just didn't seem to be in our kids at that time, when our team is usually standing up and cheering real hard in third down. When the offense has third down play, the defense is right up there cheering for them. And when the defense has got an important third down play, the offense is standing up there cheering for it. We lost a little of that energy and enthusiasm that we've had, that was so much a part of us. On offense, we went in the game knowing that we wanted to be balanced. We were fairly balanced. We ran the ball 21 times and passed it 29 times. We certainly could have ran the ball more and should have, in retrospect and looking back at that game. Some of the runs that we called didn't work, and yet if we would have just changed the path of the back or tried it again and helped coach them up, we probably could have ran for more yardage. But we still averaged 7.8 yards a play, and Rice averaged 7.2 yards a play. Interesting, huh? Our average rush was 4.7, and our average completion was 18.4. We just only had the ball for 21 minutes, and they had it for 38. And at halftime, we're ahead. We made some adjustments. We definitely tried to re-energize our team at halftime with a little motivation. And then going into the fourth quarter was a big deal for us. Talked about it for the last 2 weeks. Talked about it daily, every single day. We were talking about win the fourth quarter, and going into the fourth quarter, it was 31-27, and we had the ball 3 times, and they had the ball 3 times. They scored 2 touchdowns of the 2 out of 3 times that they had the ball, and we scored 1, and we got beat. Questions? Would we have liked to have won the game? Would we have liked to have run the ball more? I think in retrospect, looking at it, I probably should have called more runs. I didn't really know specifically right like that what was the problem. You call a play and it gets stuffed and you move on in your mind, you know what I mean? Instead of going back and say, hey, that play's really there, that play's really there. So that probably, there's a couple plays I wish I would have ran over and over again. And I don't know if that would have helped us. It didn't seem like that was the major difference because they were still giving us the routes that we were throwing, and Nick was throwing pretty good and catching pretty good other than 2 passes, which I wish he would have gone to a different receiver with those. But we were still able to move the ball, throwing the ball and scoring touchdowns. The only thing I think the run would have done is maybe kept the ball away from them more.
You think you can put your finger on defensively and kind of broke down?
Well, I think they kind of hurt us in both game plans. We had 2 game plans. One for on defense, we had 2 game plans kind of going into the game. One for when number 18 was in the game, and then one for when number 7, the quarterback, the other quarterback, was in the game. We kind of set our game calls and selections toward that. So most of the time you knew who it was going to be. Sometimes both of those guys would be in there at the same time. So it's a little hard to make that play selection. But when we knew 18 was the quarterback, then we knew what defenses what we wanted to call, and when 7 was the quarterback, we knew what defenses we wanted to call, and we just didn't execute some of those very well. Quarterback got the first one, ran the zone read, and just ran it right up in there and scored and broke 3 tackles. Guys were just a little out of place, we were out of position a little bit more, I think, this game on defense than we have been in other games. And then when the quarterback was in there again, we were a step off. Golly, the routes weren't real complicated or real difficult, or they weren't run by Carrier or Edwards from Houston that just fly by you. They were ran with normal guys, and we didn't cover them like we should have. A couple times we got caught in the coverage, and the guy blew a coverage, which was a big play to score their last touchdown. One of the more difficult things to tell a person where they need to be. Well, I think when we call it gap, we run a gap control defense, and if you if 10 guys are in their gap and one isn't, and they happen to find where that one is, then that can be difficult. It shouldn't be, but again, those other guys are trying to knock you down, and you're trying to get to your gap, or a guy went in motion and distracted you for a half a second, and then you're out of position. And so it just wasn't one of our better days. I've seen us play with much better intensity and emotion than we did Saturday. Got a lot of theories that end up sounding like excuses, so I won't go into those. Go ahead. How do I rate this among my heartbreaking losses? Well, it shouldn't be any different than any other loss, I guess. I was just, I just felt like we were going to win that game, and I felt it was important to do that for our 6 guys that were seniors that were leaving that wouldn't have won a game in Houston. They didn't beat Houston or Rice in the years that we went there. And man, we had a lot of, we traveled so well. We had a lot of people there at the game, a lot of orange. It was great. It was a lot of fun, a lot of parents. And every single player on our team used his tickets for the first time this year. And more, obviously more than that, more people than that. But I don't know, I was down for a little bit, but the sun comes up the next day, and leaders aren't very good leaders that walk around and kick rocks, with your head down. So I got a responsibility, so boom, back to work Sunday.
As a coach, nobody wants to lose no matter what, but does it bother you more when you lose to a team that you feel you should beat?
Yes. Yes, Steve, I think it does. I think, well, I don't know if we should have beaten this team or not, because they played the best football and beat us, and we didn't play real well and still came close. But I just think they got the heck beat out of them by Houston, embarrassed on national TV. That's the neighborhood brawl across the street. And they were down. They've had injured players, and those kids were down. And for them to come back and play with that kind of spirit is something that we should look at. And they did a really good job. I think their coaching staff did a great job, and I think their players did a great job. Enough praising Rice. No, I don't think fatigue had anything to do with our offense in the fourth quarter. I don't think so. I don't think we played as fast as we're capable of playing. It didn't look to me, or a lot of times from the press box, you look down the field, you see a different game, because you're not right in it. And our coaches in the press box said our team kind of looked slow. And I don't know why that would have been that way, but I think we did look slow. I don't think fatigue was part of it, because we were substituting pretty good, and they weren't running a real hurry-up offense. They would stand there and wait and wait and wait. So it wasn't like a speed offense. They didn't huddle, but it wasn't a real hurry-up offense.
Do you worry about the whole November thing kind of taking on a life of its own with the players as well?
Do I worry about the November thing taking on a life of its own? Not really. I think I worry about it and are more anxious about it than the players. I don't think they give a darn. I think that just any month to them, they just want to win, have a winning season, go to a bowl game. I don't think they even know or care what our record is in November. I don't think it's going to change our practices any. As long as you have those goals to achieve, and as long as you know that they're within your reach and you can see them, then if you're a competitor, you're going to be motivated.
Afterwards, you seemed a little bit to kind of question the character of the team. Is that just kind of heat of the moment?
Well, after the game, did I question the character of the team? No, I think it was more your character, I think. No, I'm just kidding. I was in no mood to be kidding. You know that, you know me. And so, no, I don't feel that way about our team. No, I don't. I might have said that. If I did, it was in anger. It was in disgust. It wasn't wasn't well thought out word to describe our players, because they were in the locker room as frustrated and angry as I was. I should have went in there and showered with them or something, and maybe said something to one of them, and they could have beat me up. But no, that was. I did say that. You're right, but it wasn't the right thing to say. Okay. Guess what? We got another game out here. Saturday night. That's what's great about college football. Huh? Got another chance to redeem yourself. Well, East Carolina, still looking for it on the map. Hard to find. Over there by North Carolina and South Carolina somewhere, but it's out in the ocean, and the maps don't show it that state very well. But they do have a real good football team, really good quarterback in Dominique Davis, averaging over 300 yards a game, passing and running. He'll pass for almost 300 and run for another 50. So he is, and their offense, passing-wise, is the next best offense in our conference. And we have some really good quarterbacks, obviously. And he's good, senior now. He's real good. He can run. Transferred from Boston College. Started the last 3 games as a freshman at Boston College. Something went wrong there at Boston. I don't know what it was, but the coaching change or whatever, and he went to Fort Scott, where he led them to, I think, an undefeated season or 11-1 record there at Fort Scott. Then he went to East Carolina, and last year played really well there for Ruffin. The offense that they run is the Mike Leach's offense. It's Ruffin McNeil's offense, because Mike Leach isn't coaching right now, so let's call it Ruffin McNeil's offense. But it's one of offense without tight end. There's going to be 4 wideouts in the game all the time, 1 running back, a quarterback a lot of the time in shotgun, and throwing the ball into the open areas. And a lot of times not real necessarily far down the field, but to the open areas. And this guy can run too when you rush him. So they have their leading running backs out and their leading receivers out, hopefully for this game, but they got good guys. And on defense, they run an Okie defense, a 3-man defense, a nose guard, and two defensive ends, 4 linebackers, and so they're kind of a linebacker type defense. Not as big as they have been. When Holtz was there, they had some big guys, ran an even front, and had 4 big defensive linemen. Must have run out of them somewhere, because now they only have 3, and they're really not as big as those kids were before. And their 2 best players are their 2 inside linebackers, Grove and Drake. So they're 4-5. They have exactly the same goals and aspirations as we do. I got on their internet and listened to their quotes of their players after the game, and it was just like listening to a recording of what we talked about Sunday. So they know they've got 3 games left to make their season a success, and so do we. So it should be that whoever wins the game will make the least mistakes and will be the team that probably wants it the most. We've got an advantage at playing at home. I'll take every advantage we can against this team, and hopefully they arrive safe, but it takes a long time to get here.
Does it help playing a team that doesn't have a momentum advantage over you right now?
Well, I think Does it help playing a team that doesn't have a momentum advantage against us? Yeah, I suppose so, but I don't think, gosh, we just played a team that didn't have momentum against us. Of course, we didn't have momentum against them either, so it was two non-momentum teams. They're playing two more non-momentum teams, and so we got to figure out the way to get momentum. It's kind of a momentum question. I'm trying to get some momentum going here on my answer. I don't know. I have no idea. Better than, I don't know. It's nice to be here. It's going to be good to play at home. I like playing in the Sun Bowl. And we'll have a good crowd and good weather, and our players like playing, and we're healthy, and there's no reason we shouldn't give our best effort this Saturday.
Outside of the record, there are a lot of similarities between the two teams that you can see.
I didn't quite catch that first part.
Other than the record, both teams are there any other similarities between the two teams?
Other than the record, is there a lot of similarities between these two teams? No, I think we're both fairly athletic teams. We're not a huge team. I don't think they're really huge, although their offensive line is tall, but they're like us, they're thin, and their defensive line isn't as big as it has been. I think they like to hit. They're a physical team. We like to hit. They throw the ball better than we do, and we hope that we can run the ball better than we have. Their biggest downfall is turnovers. They lead, I think, the nation in turnovers, like 29 turnovers or something like that. And so we just hope they continue that. But that's not a very good game plan, hope. What if they don't turn the ball over? Well, then you better find a way to block them and tackle them.
Coach, last week we talked about going out and going to another bowl game. How do you keep the players focused back?
Well, I think, last week I talked about going to a bowl game and have a winning season. We still have that possibility. They have to be reminded of that, and they will be reminded of that. And I think the majority of them know that and are looking forward to having a chance to take the first step toward that goal, closer to that goal, and let this thing with Rice just leave us. And it's the same thing for the other side. They have the same goals that we do. So that's why I think it'll be the team that makes the least mistakes wins the game, like it always is. And then I think the team that really wants it the most. And I think we really enjoy playing here. And it's a perfect opportunity for us, I think. It's a great opportunity. Couldn't be sitting in a better situation. I'd much rather play them here than in East Carolina. Like I said, East Carolina is hard to find on a map. And they had 50,000 for their last game. And it was loud. And they were, they struck first. It was 7-0. 4 touchdowns scored against them, but not against their defense. 2 pass interceptions for a touchdown, 1 fumble recovery for a touchdown, and 1 punt return for a touchdown. And you're playing Southern Miss. Oh, that's tough. That's tough duty. That's a hard game to win. They got opened this season against South Carolina, ranked team. It was 14-0 first quarter, East Carolina. So they got some fellas that can play.
In some games this year you run the ball really well, and then other times you haven't. Is this the type of team you run well on?
Some games we've run well, some games we haven't. We would like to run the ball better, and we'll try to run the ball more than 21 times. I don't know what Joe Banyard would do if I gave him the ball 21 times, but he'd probably run for more yardage than he did Saturday. So it doesn't take a genius to figure that out, but I couldn't figure it out, so I'm not a genius, I guess. But I don't know if that means that we're going to be any more successful, Brett. They're not like that. They're not good against the run. They are good against the run, and they do blitz a lot. And they'll bring corners, safeties, and linebackers. So it's a three-man front. You know, we always got three guys coming. And then they'll add another outside linebacker. And so it's four guys coming a lot. And then they do more blitzing of corners and safeties than other teams that I've seen.
You do anything different this week to get your team ready since it kind of went away last week?
Well, I'm still working on that. I think am I doing anything differently to get our team ready for this game coming up? I'm working on that. I want to make sure that I prepare them and I turn every stone over. And if there's something that we need to be doing, I better do it now and not wait for another game to get by. So if there's a mistake I'm making, I'm going to correct it immediately. If there's a mistake, playing the right guy, playing the wrong guy, running the wrong play, running the wrong defense, we want to correct it and correct it now and give these guys, put them in the place where they can be successful because they deserve it. And I think I got the coaches on our staff to help figure that out. The want's there from this team. The want is there. They want to.
What's your message to some of the fans that might say, uh-oh, it's November, here we go again?
Oh, Stevie. What's my message to the fans about November? Here we go again. I'll work on that one for you, okay? I just want to be with these kids when they win in November. I want to be their coach, and I want to be with them, and I want to see the smiles and some of their dreams coming true. They deserve that, and that's what I want to be. I want to be here to see it. Be with them. See the coaches. I like our coaches. I like our fellowship with our coaches. I like our team. I like our team chemistry. There isn't anything I don't like about our team. And so I'd like to see them win, and I want to be here when they do it. And I hope you do too. I know you guys will, but there'll be enough people here. It'll be fun. Okay. Sounds good. Thanks.